then they already got your actions. You're going to do what they want you to do. So the first thing you got to reclaim is not your sneakers. You got to reclaim your mind. And every time you do something every day, what I want you to think about is how would your enemy feel about it. I'm not talking about enemy in the way they constructed enemy for you. B's and C's, Norte, Sur. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about your enemy is anybody who makes you hate yourself and your people. That's who your enemy is. And when I say yourself and your people, I'm not talking about your block. We don't even own our damn blocks. How the fuck we gonna claim our block? We don't own it. They come kick that shit anytime they want. One time roll through our hood any way they want. And we crack on them and we gonna get locked. And I know because I've been locked. I've been locked just for speaking my mind. That's dangerous. That's why they get y'all. That's why they put you through school for 13 years. Because they either going to pacify you or figure out if you really come from warrior stock. And if you come from warrior stock, then they're going to beat you down. They're going to suspend you. They're going to get you in check. They're going to get you to play their game in the way it's supposed to be played. If you're dangerous, you don't read just what they assign you, or you read what they assign you so that you can tear it apart. And then you go read Bico too. But you see, they're pumping you full of all this other stuff that's going to keep you distracted from the reading. So while your enemy is encouraging you to be this way, what I want you to think about is everything you do, is it a threat to your enemy, or would your enemy be smiling because you were doing it? That's what I want you to think about. Everything you do every day, in the schoolhouse, outside of the schoolhouse on the block, in your bedroom, is your enemy smiling? Because if you are supporting the enemy, then they're going to win. And that's what we've been doing. Because it hasn't been clear to us, and it became clear to me as I started reading Bico. Then I moved on to Carter G. Woodson. Carter G. Woodson wrote a book called The Miseducation of the Negro. And he started talking about how we've been miseducated. And I began to realize that this is what was driving my brothers and sisters to do what they were doing. This is what driving my cousins on the corner to do what they were doing, is they were miseducated. They were schooled. Carter G. Woodson says, if you can control a man's mind, you can control a man's thinking. And if you control a man's thinking, you can control that man's actions. And if you can control that man's actions, you don't need to tell him to go to the back door. He'll go there on his own. Grab control of your mind. Be clear about what you're reading, about what you're watching, and what it is that it's telling you. And if it's not connected to us getting free, if it's not connecting to us owning our own land, owning our own businesses, owning our own schools, then we are trapped in that paradigm that Malcolm said, where we are fools because we're letting our enemy educate our children. And this is why they invest so much in you guys, in school, in juvie, in all these other ways, because they know the minute the generation of youth rejects their message and reconnects to who they really are, it's over. It's a wrap. All the violence done. You think LAPD gonna stop this violence? Nope. Please. Ain't a chance in the world. Who gonna stop it? Who could make the trigger stop popping right now? Us. We could just be like, boop, game over. Turn this trigger on this trigger-ass game you got going right now. That's why you're really dangerous. Ain't a one of us dangerous with a gun in our hand. Not to the enemy. We dangerous to each other. Trip on this. Who has all the guns?
Military.
Right! So if we really wanted to go to war, we'd be fucked. How many tanks we got? How many missiles? It's a wrap, y'all. That's why it ain't stopping, because we ain't really no threat to power. We ain't turning the guns on power because we ain't stupid. You turn the guns on power, you're going to get dunked on for real. Jesus. And so we turn the guns on each other. And what do?
Sit back, watch.
Smile and laugh. So trip on that, y'all. We're playing their game for them. And they are winning. Our enemy is winning. And all I can say to you is everywhere I go, talk to young people, talk to this what I'm saying. I grew up an athlete. And I hate losing more than I love winning. And what I see in our community is that young people don't understand how we're losing. And the minute you turn that light on, the minute you help them see who they really are, who we really come from, what this game really is, the whole game changed. So that's what I'm going to try to share with you today. The reason that I am so invested in young people is because these are my twin boys. These are my sons. And I know, as a son, that there was a limit to the things that my parents could tell me that I would listen to. But there were big homies on my block that would tell me things that I would listen to. And so what I'm saying to you is every brother in this room, you are my son's big homies. This is Amaru, and that's Tayari. When we get into Q&A, I can tell you what those names mean. But those are your little homies right there. And they are going to get to a point where they can't hear me anymore. And I'm going to need you. And I don't know who it's going to be. I don't know which one who's going to cross their path at that key moment in their life. Like my big homies crossed my path when I was headed in that other way. And they redirected me. So this is a selfish talk that I'm doing. Because I need y'all. You understand what I'm saying? My sons need you. I can't bury my sons. I can't do it. And someone in this room may very well be in a position 10 years from now, 15 years from now, to keep me from having to bury my son by being able to say to him something that he can't hear from me. And so I need you to be ready. So as much as I'm going to give to you today from me, from my heart, from my soul, from my people, from my ancestors, I'm going to be honest with you. I told you I'm going to keep it 100. That I am giving that to you for selfish reasons. Because of these boys. And one day, these boys will do for your sons what you do for them. And that is who we come from. That is the best of our ancestors. That is what we understood always. That it took our whole village to raise our sons and daughters. And you are a part of that village because this is the land of my birth, LA. So every time I get on that plane and I fly that hour, I know I'm flying home. And I know I'm flying to talk to the homies who are going to have to look out for my little homies. Now I came up in the hip-hop generation, which is different from what y'all are coming up in. Y'all are coming up in the rap generation. Okay? And y'all got to understand the difference between hip-hop and rap. Right?
Garbage.
Hip-hop, okay, came from the streets. Not the streets the way you understand it. Okay? It came from the community. How many of you ever heard of a hip-hop group called Public Enemy? Ooh, that's beautiful. That's how I know I'm in LA.
NWA.
So Public Enemy